line 2, the step on line
Yeah,
2,
online. Yeah.
it needs to be automated, like so that once the person imputes the row, so I'm thinking this line 2 should be sent by the Python client and not on the rholang code.
This rholang code that you've done here, this will be generated in, so context, I see we're up to 10 people, not everyone was here at the beginning. They're working on a rock, paper, scissors dApp, not just the rholang, but a full front end and everything. And so, yes, David, you're totally right. That, that UI, what do we call those? URI on line 2, the user will paste that into their web browser, and they'll also type the word rock into their web browser. And then this rholang code gets generated by the web browser and then sent over gRPC up to a node.
Okay.
Another thought that occurred to me is this itself could be wrapped into a contract which only takes the URI.
Yeah, yep, we could abstract it a couple different levels. I think one step toward abstract is generating this all in the UI, and then yeah, I agree, Glenn, it could get more robust from there.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I think that's fine for your use case here.
So the automated process is handled by the Python client.
Say that one more time.
The automated process of generating and getting back this ID is handled by the Python client.
The automated something, yeah. So Python is going to generate this code and then send it over to a node to be run.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me try running this.
Oh yeah. Let's try to run it. That's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
So what's are we gonna run this code?
Yeah, I'm running it, but my system is frozen. It's running, but I can't show you guys because my system is frozen.
Okay, cool. It's running, but I didn't hear the but. I see Ed is asking, does anyone have a healthy node on testnet? Ed, as far as I know, testnet didn't launch successfully. I haven't checked back today. Maybe that's changed.
Thank you.
My system is.
I think,
can somebody take the
Kelly
screen
was,
share for me? Why I handle it? My system is frozen. Let me do something about this.
I thought
Just
Kelly was
like
speaking about repeating the testnet Genesis ceremony.
Say that one more time, David.
Yeah, Kelly spoke about repeating the Genesis block ceremony.
Yeah, great. Do you know when that's happening?
I think it's today. I don't know exactly when, but she.
Yeah. Yeah, same. Okay, cool. So it looks like it printed correctly. You have the game ID is, and then something. But then also notice that block did not go in your DAG because you are not a validator right now. It says you have 0 weight. Yeah,
I've been having that issue. Like I can't propose.
Yeah, I remember that issue in the nth caller walkthrough also. Do you, this is a little tangential to rholang. We could do it now, but we should. The bottom line is, to be a validator, you have to supply a private key when you start up your node.
Yeah, I did that. I supplied a private key when I set up my node.
Cool, let's do this real quick. I'm okay with doing this real quick. Are you okay with killing your node and starting over so people can watch?
Yeah, I'm okay, but my system is frozen. I don't know why. And like Zoom has issues with my computer. Whenever I start Zoom, it freezes up many of my applications. So my system is frozen. I need to resolve it real quick before I.
Okay. So maybe someone else should take the screen share. Can you give up the screen share, or can Jim kick you off?
Yeah, maybe Goodness can take the screen share. Yeah, Jim, kick me off.
Don't worry, I'll handle the screen share.
Cool. Thanks, David. Yeah,
Okay.
that's great. Jim, can you kick Valentine off the screen share for us?
Hey guys, all right.
Okay.
David, thanks.
Okay.
All right, David, so you wanted to take that then?
Okay.
Nice.
Okay, so
Okay.
first I need to get a recent version of Chrome.
Let's but just so that everyone doesn't have to watch you download Node, let's just run with the one you've got right now. The process is almost the same.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So do you have an rnode direct? So one thing you can do, and I'm not claiming that you should type this command right now. One thing you can do is just like rnode run -- standalone, and that starts a standalone node, but you won't be a validator in it. You'll get that same error message that Valentine got about not having any weight.
Joshy, can I ask a question here?
Yeah, please do.
If you run standalone, are you able to use the listen on name functionality?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's several pieces of functionality. There's deploy, propose, listen for data at name, listen for continuation at name, and all four of those they call them gRPC services. So all four of those gRPC services require you to be a validator. Yes, you definitely can do it in standalone mode, but standalone is orthogonal to the issue. The issue is, are you a validator? And so what I'm going to show right now is how to be a validator.
Standalone, you are a validator?
In standalone, you may be a validator or you may not be. Valentine had the problem that he was not a validator. And so what I'm about to show now is how you can be a validator, even in standalone mode.
Ah, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. That's a great question. Okie doke. So David, do you have a .rnode directory created already? And if so, can you show us what's in it?
Okay, so let me do this.
Okay, so do you normally run rnode as root, or do you run it as David?
As root, I usually use the data directory from root. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, you might need to become root first then.
So, but first, let me see why that isn't showing. Let me see what's on my root directory.
Why are we running 0.6.4 here? I'm sorry if I missed that.
It was
Yeah,
just because I didn't want to watch him download it make everybody wait while it downloads.
Also, I think it's fine that you're running it as root in this sort of development sort of case, but I'm guessing that that's not a good practice in a production system. I use the -- data dir option to just use a data directory that's in my own home folder.
Oh,
I agree. Running as a regular user is a much nicer idea here. So.
And I found that I got around that by using the data directory, which gives me access to my own home folder, so I don't get any permissions issues, and it works fine.
Totally.
This has the additional option is that I can just run it again with a different data directory and get a whole new state of the R space. So I could have multiple saved copies of the R space available. So just.
Oh, that's a great tip.
yeah, that's a good point.
Totally. So let's do it. So David, here's your command. I'm going to type it into the chat. Okay, so everybody should be able to see it. Your command is going to be, and you're just going to run this as David, not as root. Okay, so this is going to be rnode run standalone data dir. And then Ned, is there a equal sign, or I just put the?
Did you mean Glenn?
Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry, Glenn. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no equal sign, but I think it's data _ dir.
Right.
Just for consistency. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't see the bottom of the screen. Did he stop the background process running our node?
Yes. Can you see that now? Okay.
I can see it. Yeah, I see it now. I don't know why. I couldn't see. The zoom controls sometimes block it and they won't go away.
Yeah.
Just the last.
Okay.
You can move it down to the last line, just not all the way to the bottom.
Okay, Joshy, you could continue with the command.
Cool. Yep. So the path that you typed right there, home_david.rnode, that's the default location. And I think what Glenn was saying is, if you use anything other than that default location, then you'll get to keep different versions of your R space around. So it's up to you whether you want to do that or not. If you use this,
Okay, let me try something.
Okay.
Um.
How about if you type just like, instead of /home/ a bunch of stuff, if you just type the words like rnode1, that'll create a folder called rnode1 that will be your data directory. Yeah, there you go.
Where will the folder be stored?
It'll live right here in your current directory, which right now that's your home directory.
Okay.
I pasted in chat what I usually do.
Yeah, so looks like Glenn has DD1, data directory 1. rnode1, DD1, same kind of thing.
Okay, I'm having an issue accessing the chat.
That's okay. What you typed is perfect. Just press enter.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So it says it's using a configuration file called rnode1/rnode.toml, but then it says that configuration file wasn't found. Well, that makes sense. We just created this directory. Of course, it's empty, so it's going to use just all the default options. Okay, now those 5 messages are really important. It says it created a validator and then listed a key there, bond5. So what happened when we ran this command, it generated a bonds.txt file, and it generated 5 key pairs. So there are 5, hypothetical validators running this. Oh, wow, we got a Java error? Yeah, that's not a good error to have.
Okay.
Let's see. I wonder if we can, if you control Z, it will exit this. Oh, there you go. You got it. Okay. Is there any way we can access that error message?
Yeah, it's still there. Okay, I think it cleared out. Oh, okay. No.
Yep. So if we let's scroll up a little bit before it starts to tell us it was shutting down, and we'll see if we can figure out what the problem was.
The shutdown, I was actually the one that did the shutdown.
You pressed Control C?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you scroll up just to show us that? Yeah. Oh, I see. Oh, okay. So it was just a matter of not shutting down gracefully. Okay, fine. So it created 5 key pairs for us, right? And so now all we need to do is relaunch this node and actually use one of those key pairs. So if you cd into that data directory we just created, I think you called it rnode1, then we'll be able to see what's in there. Yep. And also just a fun fact, just to save you some time, if you ever do just cd rnode1, that also takes you to the same place. So that's good. So show us what's in there. Okay, great. And then the Genesis folder. So it created all of this stuff. Whenever you run rnode with a brand new empty data directory, it creates all these files for us. And inside of Genesis, that's where it's going to tell us about all the validator keys. So let's go in there and type ls again. cd genesis ls. Nice. Okay. So you can see there's 6 files there. 5 of them represent key pairs, and one of them is called bonds.txt. So David, if you just do cat bonds.txt, it'll show us the contents of that file. So whenever we start up an rnode, if we use Bootstrap, that's different. But if we just start standalone, then we're going to use these 5 bonds, these 5 people are going to be validating the network. So we just have to take on the role of any one of these, and then we'll be a validator. And then we can do all that cool stuff like propose and deploy and listen for data and listen.
Yeah, but Joshy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've done this. I usually do this, but it still has that. I still get that same unslashable block error.
Cool. I'm going to try to blow your mind and see if we can fix it. And if not, then we'll sort it out together.
So
Okay.
let me grab one of this.
Cool. That thing you highlighted just now, that's a public key. And you can see there's a file named with that same public key. So what you need to actually copy is the private key. So you need to copy the contents of one of those 5 files. The names are public keys and the contents are private keys. Yeah, bingo. Now we're talking. So that's a private key. So that's what we need to copy.
Okay. So now been the problem, listen.
Okay, so
Nice. Dash dash validator private key. Yeah. Cool. And there was just that little
Yeah,
zero.
that was zero.
Oh, so
Yeah.
you missed the 2, I believe. There was a 2 in front of the private key.
Yeah, you missed us too also, yeah. Yeah, you missed it.
So right before the CE9, you should type a letter 2. Oop. Oh, oop. It's not there. It's 2 folders down.
isn't it this inside of this?
It's inside rnode 1 Genesis. You're now in the home.
Oh, okay, yeah, that is right. Yes. Okay, let me read CD into oh, okay. Okay.
No. You don't go out. Yeah. My
All right, this is looking.
I think you would want your data directory too, right? Because it matches the bonds file.
Oh yeah, totally.
Oh yeah, all right. Okay, so
just
so I have to specify that. Okay, yeah.
So just to clarify for anyone watching, that keeping a separate data directory is a cool thing that you can do if you have need for it. It's not totally necessary. Since we did start that way, though, we need to continue that way.
Is there any does the data directory have to appear before the standalone flag or after, or it doesn't matter?
I don't think it matters.
It just has to be after run.
Oh, okay.
All right, here we go. Fingers crossed. This command looks good. Cool. So should we try to deploy some code?
Yeah. Oh.
That was so helpful. I didn't know that and thought I had to set up like multiple machines and validators and all that in order to be able to use those.
Oh, wonderful. I'm really happy to hear that people learned during that. That's great.
Okay. Let's say boys to rolling projects. Stay into rolling. Okay. Move versus room. Okay. Right. Okay, so let's
Typo. First. Typo. First. Okie dokie.
Oh, okay.
Syntax error.
Oh, okay.
Okie dokie. Syntax error.
No, verb.
Oh, my works.
Arnold proposed.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
Okay, that's cool.
Yay.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
okay. Okay.
So we're all good to go?
So the mistake has been using the public key rather than the private key.
The private key. Exactly.
Okay. All right. So Valentine, you want to continue?
Yeah.
You want to continue?
Okay, let me continue. Mm. Okay, so I kind of set it up and it actually works. So let me try to propose for those test.row.
So that's telling you you've got a syntax error, Valentine, so we have to go fix the code. You've got a syntax error, Valentine.
Syntax, okay, on line 8.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
On line 8. Oh, this, sorry. Yeah.
But that isn't supposed to affect the code, is it?
That isn't supposed to affect the code. Yeah, it's not supposed to be the comment. I didn't think to affect the code. But let's try it again.
You have a wet bottom.
Okay, deployed.
Great. Great. All right, cool. So are we waiting for a block or what's the situation here?
Oh, you called rock.
Are we
Yeah.
waiting for a block or what's the
Yeah,
situation here?
you called rock. It worked successfully. Yeah, the code works successfully.
Yay, congratulations, guys. That's great. Yay, congratulations.
Yeah, that's really great. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, totally.
So I think I'll stop my sharing. Let's go. It's good
Go
around.
to add.row. Go to add.row. I want to see something.
Go to add. Okay. I want to see something.
Okay. Oh, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay. Oh. Yeah. So it works very well. So
You guys typed
I think
you called value, and so what we actually saw on the screen was you called rock, right?
Yeah. Rock came from this place. This rock over here.
Yeah, we use an interpolation here.
Yeah, wonderful. So okay, so that's great. We've got a standalone node running Casper. You've used the registry and actually run code through it, and it worked. So that's congratulations, guys. You're off to a great start.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, cool.
So I know it's good to see around.
Okay.
Share screen.
I think we should ask the rest of the field, does anybody have other code that they want to talk about today? We're about halfway through, so what else is on people's minds? Well, I had promised.
Yeah,
go ahead. Go ahead.
The insert signed is a little bit interesting to me.
Oh, let's do it. I haven't really played with it yet. I'd love to learn it. Do you want to? I haven't really played with it yet. I'd love to learn it. Do you want to?
Although just as I'm saying that, I realize that I would somehow need to have a signed term, and I don't have that.
And do you have RChain?
Nope.
Do you want
I'm sorry. Is it just me, or can anyone else hear the echo?
Yeah, I hear the echo too. Maybe if you're not talking, try to. I hear the echo too. Maybe if you're not talking, try to. Cool. Okay, so Glenn, if you're down for it, we can go through the process of getting and using RChain and everything. Or if you want, I can take the screen share and do it, and you can kind of guide me through the signed part.
If this is a subject that you think is worth discussing and all that, then that'd be awesome.
Totally. Okay, we're gonna figure our way through insert signed together if I can get the screen share to work. Okay, there we go. Does people see my screen?
Yes. Could you give us a little background on why we would do this?
Glenn, do you want to take that?
My understanding of how insert signed works is you can use the same URI, which is a string, but update what is stored at that location in the registry. Whereas when we just insert arbitrary, we're always going to get a new URI.
And you can never change what lives at that URI.
That's right. So with the insert signed, you
Glenn?
Yes.
Please, can you repeat the statement you just made?
Yes. So when you insert arbitrary, you're always going to get back a new URI. So that string that identifies what you've inserted in the registry is always going to be different every single time you call insert arbitrary, is my understanding.
Yeah, okay. That's totally right. So you can imagine a situation where you want to write a contract, and then later you want to add a feature or fix a bug or something, and you don't want to have to tell everyone like, hey, the new version is at this new URI, so update everything you're using. You just want to deploy the new code. With insert signed, whoever holds the right private key can update the contract.
I still don't get that.
Well, let's just do an example, and then maybe it'll make sense.
Okay.
So, is it like? Does this look like?
I have some. I have some. There is code at least for using the registry for insert signed.
We got to get that echo fixed.
Jim, if you will hand the control over to me, I will mute the non-speakers.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. So Glenn, walk us through it. Does this look about right? Do I have what I'm looking for here?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I think so. Actually, it's not right. It's insert signed underscore the crypto function, which they only have the 2519 right now. I'm looking for my release notes. That's where I have an example of the exact code.
Okay, I'll let you get that up while I start to give them
underscore.
Say that again.
I think Glenn's underscore. Insert sign underscore. Insert sign underscore.
Oh, it's not a colon? Oh, it's not a colon?
What's the use of that EEG over there? I thought just press insert signed. What's the use of this extra?
We have to say
here?
it makes sense that we have to say what cryptographic signature algorithm we're using. I don't know whether this is the syntax. I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna move on and let Glenn tell me what he finds the release notes.
So I just pasted a URL into the chat where you will find an example of exact code that I believe even works. Not sure about working, but it is at least syntactically correct.
Any chance you could paste it into the Discord so I can see the chat? Because I can't see the chat while I'm doing this.
Oh, yeah, yes. Yep, so scroll down a bit more. And there's an example of insert signed. And these, the long numbers there for the keys and such, those are from the unit tests. I think they work. So
Great.
This may not be a bad example to walk through as a learning.
So we're gonna do it. We're gonna first write a very simple contract to actually insert. So I had promised people a 99 bottles of beer game. I don't know if we're gonna get all the way through that, but we'll try it. It takes in a number and it just prints n bottles of beer on the wall, and then we have to interpolate that. So
that takes me back to bus rides as a kid, you know.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Oh, and then I need this too. Okay, cool. So that looks good. So now we need to actually use this thing. Insert signed. It's going to be a send. And then we need to pass in a public key. So over here, I'm using the RChain browser extension. Well, there we go. So here's my public key. We can talk about RChain another time if people want to, or I'm sure Dan Connolly would love to tell everybody about it. That's his labor of love. Yeah. Bytes. I just can't see the edge because of my Zoom stuff. Okay, cool. So we did the public key. Then we need whatever it is we're going to read. Oh, 789 entry. What is this? A nonce?
Yes, it's a nonce and then an entry. I think that I take it that this is an example of a good practice. I'm sure you can put any entry you wish in there. It's a, yeah.
Like that?
I think so.
Okay, so I've put in my public key. That's this. I've put in the thing that I actually want to sign. So the idea is, if I want to go back and change what I've registered here to something different, I need a higher nonce. It could be 2 or 3 or 1,000 or 1,000,000, but it can't be 0. It can't be -1. It has to always be higher. So, okay. After that, then we have, maybe I'll do it the same way on separate lines. So then we have, that looks like the signature, and then a return channel.
Yeah, so how are you going to get the signature, Joshy?
I'm about to make it with RChain.
And how does RChain know how to sign one the pair 1, beer song?
Oh, that's a great question. We would need to, oh, yeah. We would need to, the trick is that we would need to serialize this the proper way that protobuf does. So this is more than we can probably handle right now. So let's try something simpler. That's a great point.
I did, just as we were doing this, I did wonder if it's possible to sign it using rholang.
rholang can't compute signatures. It can only verify signatures.
Okay.
RChain can do that. We just have to serialize that par, which means we would need to get it back into JavaScript, and that's more than we can do in 16 minutes. So let's just try it with a string.
Yeah, well, I talked to Dan too that RChain, I believe it would handle like RSON, meaning it handles like strings and integers that are pure data elements, but the for expression it wouldn't handle. So that contract.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I think you're right.
So we could use the example that is in the release notes, because I think that signature does match the entry. It's my hope.
Oh, you're saying you want to actually verify that the...
Well, if we want to actually run insert signed, I believe that gives an example of a proper entry and its signature. And
yeah, but don't you want to create one? I think it's at least worth seeing to create one over something simpler.
actually, that'd be awesome. I agree.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so we're gonna sign this tuple. So over here in RChain, we're gonna put in the data, enter my silly password.
So the data doesn't have to be JSON?
Oh yeah, apparently it does. Unexpected token left paren. Yeah, okay, you're right. It's not even gonna serialize this thing for me, huh?
Yeah, my understanding is it goes from JSON, it has this mapping of, oh, okay, we have a name value pair in the JSON, so we'll represent a name value pair in RSON.
Yeah, I think row core is the new name for that, but you're 100% right.
Okay. Row core is the new name for RSON?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the way row core, I'm looking if there's an example in this code that
RSON, is it RSON you're referring to?
yeah, but the name that people are trying to use now is row core, like this. Or that's the name.
Okay, yeah.
The problem is Dan and I didn't remember what it was called and started calling it RSON for a second, and it stuck, and that wasn't ideal.
I like RSON.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but it conflicts with a whole lot of things because there's our sign and there's our song, which is the
Yeah.
application too.
I agree. It's just, it doesn't seem very core to me. It seems like our data or something might make sense, but it's anyway, whatever.
So the way that row core works is it takes JSON like this and it transfers that into something like this. So it takes JSON data like this and converts it into a rholang term that you can put on chain. So let's see. There are
so that there's an example right there you could use.
Yeah, but the problem is we need to sign this tuple that includes a nonce, and the tuple was a problem.
No, I don't know that it's a necessity that there be a nonce.
I think for insert signed it is. Well, let's just read the notes. Well, I lost the notes, I guess. Here we go.
I wrote the notes.
Yeah.
And I just grabbed an example from the it'd be a good thing from the unit tests. That code is exactly from unit tests. So you're right. I don't know if it's matching on the pair, but I would be surprised if it is.
The signatures here are over serialized representation of the nonce value tuple. Right, so I think it had, because the point is if you don't sign the nonce, then anyone can forge the nonce. So if I only sign this word like entry, and then later I update it so it's not entry, it's like entry 2, and then, you know, some evil person wants to come and change it to entry, they could just change the nonce back to something higher, even, you know, and that's because I didn't bother to sign the nonce. So I think that's why
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
I just don't think that it matters for what we're trying to do.
Okay, so you're telling me that if I put this in here without a nonce, it's still going to work?
I'm that's what I'm telling you. I don't know that that's true, but that's what I think.
All right. Okie doke. So we have my public key, some data that we're not sure whether it's of the right form or not, and then a signature over that data and a return channel. So then for URI that comes from return, we're just gonna print URI. Okay, good. I don't know what to do about that. Oh, eval hasn't been working in node 0.7. That's okay.
Josh, you missed a hyphen between your flow limits.
All right, we got the deploy. Okie doke, and we didn't get anything back here, it looks like, right?
Okay, so you're thinking it's because it actually does require a tuple, and a pair, and that the first element of that pair has to be a nonce, and the other has to be the entry.
I think that's right. I'm you know, like I said, I haven't done this before, but I just don't know why they would have implemented it not requiring that nonce.
Okay, well, to me that's a piece of learning. I mean, I thought it was just a good practice, not a requirement in the.
But we definitely do have bigger problems, because even this standard out running, this is really basic, and that didn't come out on the screen either. So it might be bigger than that.
Okay.
People interested in debugging?
Sure.
All it says is success. Well, let's just. All I know how to do is get it down to a very simple program and see if it works.
Yep.
So now this is the only line that should be actually executing. Yeah, I guess I'm out of ideas. I don't know. This is embarrassing, but.
Maybe you might have to clear out your data directory.
What was that?
You may have to clear out your storage.
Also, are you sure you're talking to the same node?
I'm getting the deploys.
Okay.
That's a good question. I think so.
Any chance take a look at your new? Is there any chance we got the wrong strings in there? No. looks good to me. At least for standard out.
Ah, now we got something.
So you took out the call to the registry signed, right?
Yeah.
Is that like not available in this
Yeah, I think
version or something?
I think something is missing from the insert sign. You need to do an underscore, then the ED255. And at the name.
The name should be whatever I want it to be, right?
Yeah, that's right. I wouldn't think that would affect it. I mean, it shouldn't.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so including this line 2, regardless of whether I have the name with the underscore or not, seems to break the code. Okay. Yeah, that's trippy. This line, this is what's doing it, right? Now it's going to work. I bet even with all this stuff still here, it'll still work. We can confirm.
Won't you get an error now that you don't know those names?
Oh, yeah, you're right. So,
Yeah.
This is really trippy. Just trying weird stuff.
Yeah, I bet it is only when we actually reference the real insert signed, but
It didn't do running that time. When I put any superpower on this name, I don't get this code to execute. Oh, that's not a valid one. Wonder if that makes a difference.
I think that is. Maybe insert signed isn't in this build.
Or maybe I typoed it in a way that none of us noticed.
Could be too.
Okay, we got running that time. Oh, yeah, it's possible that it's not. I've never used insert signed. I just assumed they all came together. Yeah, it seems like insert signed is not in this one. So what version am I using?
That or my document has the wrong URI in there.
Yeah. There are examples of this.
Joshy, we're hitting 1 minute to 8.
Okay. I just at least would like to see. This looks like what we did to me. So is my build too old? I guess that's the most likely scenario, is that I just have outdated R node. So
It could be. I can't remember. I remember when I put the examples in, I know I tried them as far as they didn't crash or something, but I can't remember if
yeah,
if I actually saw it work.
I'll make sure to update to release. I don't know if I've done that. I think our successes today were showing how to run a standalone node with Casper, and getting David and Valentine's rock, paper, scissors code to use insert arbitrary. So, okay, guys, I'm going to call it here. Thank you for attending. I want to plug also the other section of rholang office hours. I know David and Rinka and some others have been working hard, and Jim and Valentine, to get a section on Tuesdays at, what's the UTC time there, David? 8 o'clock UTC on Tuesdays, PM?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So that's 4 o'clock Eastern time, 1 o'clock Seattle time, PM. All right, thanks everybody. See you next time.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks everyone.